What is up, bros? Josh here. In today's video, we're going over a new AA tool that was added in 0.8.0, the big CV rework patch, and that's something that I didn't know I'd have to make a video about, but this is something that a lot of people were bringing up questions of what is that, how is that, how do I use that with the new CV rework. Now, this is what I'm talking about is the AA sectors. Now, this is a kind of a new way to control part of your AA to make a certain side of your AA stronger. Now, it is different per class, and we'll go over that in a second. Now, one of the main things is how do you access that? So the default way, and I hope this is something that World of Warships changes in the future, is you're going to want to go to settings, and this is just the two keys. Go to controls, and you can scroll down, and the base tools or the base keys that you can use for these is O or tilde, which is next to your one key. I use tilde as the main thing. Both of these work. Obviously, you can change it to whatever you want. I know a few people have changed it to G or a mouse button. This is something that I hope they kind of change in the future. I know a lot of people, including myself, if I'm ever on Discord or TeamSpeak, use tilde as push to talk. So they might hear you if you're playing CVs. They might hear you kind of random sniffle or cough or something like that. So obviously change it to what you want. I think O, obviously it's next to P, which turns on and off your AA. But O, I think is it's a little clumsy to go over there and then have to click, which we'll get into in a little bit. I use tilde. It's pretty quick, but I hope they kind of change it in the future, so at least you know where you need to go if you want to change up the keybind to something that is more friendly for you. Now, what exactly is an AA sector? Now, throughout this entire video, I will be showing you values of the base skill itself. Now, there is a new value. Obviously, if you didn't know, captain builds and captain skills have changed in this new patch, and you can do it, get actually free retrains and free movements from captain from one ship to another, to other ones if you want for free for the next couple weeks or so, obviously depending on when you're watching this video. But one of the things that is affected is manual fire control for AA. This used to increase certain ones before in the 7.9 and the earlier patches. This used to increase your AA efficiency above certain sizes. Now it's negative 20% to AA sector reinforcement time. There is a time, again, we'll get to that in a second. And then plus 20% to AA sector reinforce efficiency. This will make more sense when we get into a little bit later in the video, but I am not using that, just to give you the base values overall. So this is something that is fantastic. If you know how to use this, it can definitely boost your AA. It's another 4-point skill, so it does take a bit, a bit of a few points to really get this bonus. It is nice. But throughout this video, just so the values stay consistent, I'm not going to be using that, so just a heads up on that. Now here we are in game as a destroyer, and now throughout all the classes, the AA sector will look the same. So obviously hitting tilde, O, whatever you've keybinded your sectors to, this new screen will come up. Now it's a perfect circle in the middle. Obviously, throughout the game, this is one thing that changes, is if your short range AA has been knocked out, long range, medium, it'll actually get blacked out, and you'll have a kind of a clear circle there. It won't be green. But as you can see, left and right start out balanced, 100%, 100%. But what you can do is then prepare for incoming attacks, or if you are going to one side and have, let's say I'm going to left side, I'll have my right side fully set up because I know planes will be coming from that way. So they all look the same like this, but the actual values and then time to change size or reinforce those sectors is different between each class. Destroyer has one of the biggest changes of reinforced sectors and the fastest to do that. It makes sense because destroyers are the quickest class and you're going to be switching them the most. So at 100, what you're going to want to do is look, and the destroyer has a 5-second setup time. This, remember, this is without the module, or without the captain skill, sorry, 5-second setup time and plus 50 to that each side. So if I am going to, let's say, the left side, I know the planes will be coming from my right, so I want to prepare the right side of the AA sector to get those planes. 5 seconds later, remember that's just the stock one, you are now at 150, 50, and as you can see, even in the bottom left corner, you can tell which side you have reinforced, which side is not reinforced, and from there you can see this is now 150% of your AA and then 50%. So if a plane is attacking from this side, it's going to go against 150% of your AA, but if it gets around to the other side, you are at a disadvantage of not clicking that. So this is one thing this is kind of another thing you have to worry about when you're going through. It's very easy to just keep it balanced throughout the entire time, and then if you have the extra second or two to pull up, that's why I hope they kind of change this going forward with the keys, kind of using like Q and E for steering. I would love to just have kind of some quick buttons. It is a bit clumsy to then pull up click, pull up, click when you're trying to, let's say, go through a knife fight and planes are coming in. I would love to be able to do that just with a quick key. But what you have to do from there on in is, if you, let's say the strike has come in from your right side and you want to then disengage your full AA, what you can do is then just click on that side again. If you click on that side again, 5 seconds later for a destroyer, it then balances back out. So back to 100. So that's so again, showing that if you click on the right side, it'll then give you the bonus sector. Destroyers, 5-second setup, 50% for the extra bonus, and then it takes that away. But if you then notice the planes are that, let's say a CV has started to juke out your AA sector, or it can kind of tell and goes to the other side, what you can then do is just go, instead of demounting it from this side, just click on the other side. Once you click on the other side, as you see, it'll switch from 150 on the right side to 150 on the left side. And again, in the bottom left corner, it'll show what sector is then backed up. So this is something that you're going to have to keep in mind. You can use it as an advantage and definitely set up. Again, I would kind of go into situations like this a bit more prepared. I do this almost instantly at the start of all my games, getting those, depending on which side I'm going to, getting that AA set up. I will, however, sail a decent round, especially as a DD. I will sail around kind of balanced most of the time and then back up that sector as we're going through. So here we are in game as the tier 10 USN cruiser, the Des Moines, known for having extremely high AA, and all the classes are going to have different values on their AA sectors. Obviously, you're going to start the game both balanced 100-100, but this is where the values change from the destroyers, as destroyers were 50% on the switch, 5 seconds to do so. It is now different for cruisers. Cruisers have a 25% boost, but a 10-second setup time. So the setup time is going to take a bit longer. This is when that manual AA skill is going to take some, all right, do I want to bring this? Now, a lot of the time you can do this because you can kind of see the strikes coming in. You're not going to be up into the fight as much as like a destroyer would. So the action is a tad slower for cruisers, but the reinforcement of sectors is a little less, obviously, because the AA is much higher for cruisers. Same with battleships, but it's only 25%. Same thing works though, switching back and forth. It just now takes longer and for a less amount of time. So 10 seconds on the sector switch, again without the captain skill, and only 25 seconds on the reinforced, or 25% on the reinforced sector for all cruisers. And as for battleships, you can kind of see the pattern going forward. You pull up the AA sector, still 100-100, but now it's going to take even longer. There's more AA here, 25% and 12 seconds. So you're keeping the same percent as cruisers, but 12 seconds to set up. Battleships are the ones I'm starting to notice that with the change to even concealment, you can maybe pick up this AA, especially with how many CVs there are right now because the patch is so new. Going forward, though, it might not really be needed, but that 12 seconds does take a bit of time. You definitely do notice, especially when a CV is flying around. I noticed when I was playing Battleships, I just got kind of lazy and just left it at 100-100. Obviously, when you can see an attack come in, you want to kind of set up, but 25% to me felt pretty marginable. If they were going to get a hit in, they were going to get a hit in anyway. So shooting down a couple extra planes on 25%, I personally got a little lazy, but dropping that off with the captain skill might help it a little bit. 12 seconds just seemed too long to really get that in. Obviously, if you can see the attack coming from a ways away, you have that 12-second window, but overall Battleships, I personally just got lazy and didn't really use it that much. Cruisers and destroyers, especially DDs, I used it a lot more. But 12% or 12 seconds for a 25% boost is what Battleships have. And last but not least, we have the CVs. Now, they get the biggest and the best boost, which is 60% boost, but it does take the longest. So 60% on the AA reinforcement, but 15 seconds to set up. This is something you will probably really only kind of set up most of the time. CVs are going to kind of put themselves into a situation where planes are really going to be able to only attack them from one side anyway. So it does take them a while, the extra bonus of 15 seconds, but you do get that 60%. So if you can set it up, it's definitely worth it. I know a lot of CVs are kind of going out back towards the line, that old school kind of play. And if you are a CV, you can really see that attack coming from a long ways away. The one thing it does, though, with all of these, if you switch over to one side, as you can see, 160% on one side, 40 on the other. So you're getting almost no AA on the other side, but your one side will be huge. So setting this up, now be very careful when playing CVs, because if a CV does maybe bait out that switch, you can take advantage of that and having little to no AA on the other side. Again, CV, the biggest bonus from from the AA reinforcement, but you are going to take the longest time to switch back and forth, again, without that captain skill. I feel like it's not needed with the captain skill. CV snipes are kind of still a thing, but in my opinion, a pretty big waste of time nowadays because of the actual alpha strikes from the actual CVs themselves. But if you want to set it up or kind of get into situations where you can kind of do that, maybe you put yourself on maybe an island on one side. Let's say you have an island right here and they can only drop on you that way. That's a fantastic way to then do it, because then you just obliterate all the planes to go there. So overall, the AA sectors is a pretty cool little tool, and it's definitely something you should be using. I know a lot of people kind of came into the stream and were asking, what's that green circle? What does that green circle do? Why are you using that? How do I use that? Where do I find that? So again, tilde key is what I use for it. It's the default tilde key or the O key. I felt like O is just way too far away to kind of use it, just like if you hit P to turn off your AA. A was just too far away to kind of click and then come back. So tilde for me, again, you can graft it to whatever you want, switch it out the keybind. I know a lot of people are starting to use G on that because it's not really used in game, but it's a cool little tool to use, and it definitely will help you against incoming planes, because there's definitely are a lot more planes than there were just a few days ago. So just a little tip. I kept getting asked this, so I thought I'd make a quick little video. All those video probably ended up being way longer than I thought it did. That ends up being all the videos, but I wanted you guys to have all the right information on the new AA sectors. So a new tool to come in with 8.0, especially I think this is most useful obviously for destroyers. Get in there, use that extra little boost, but be very aware that it's something else you're going to have to deal with a lot of the time. Cruisers, obviously another strong one as well, depending on what situation you're in. And then battleships, CVs. To me, I got a little lazy on those classes just because it does take a bit longer to kind of just set them up. 12-15 seconds without the captain skill can be a pretty big thing to worry about, and it does seem like you do get some kind of penalty when you are going through the actual transition phase. So that's something to keep in mind too, that if you're doing it too much, you are actually making yourself, let's say if you're 100 on each side and you do switch it from one side to the other, back and forth as the CV is doing it, you probably would have just been better off leaving it 100 so you aren't taking that disadvantage of losing all the AA. That's what it seemed like to me, at least. But in most situations, what I like to do is just start the game off with picking. If I'm going to the left side, obviously I'll put the AA on my right side. If I'm going to the right side, I'll put the AA on my left side, since that's where the planes will be coming from. And then from there, just kind of watching the planes, keeping an eye out for where they're coming, where they're attacking. You can obviously just leave it 100 for most situations, but you can see the strike coming in, and if you have the time to switch it over, it's going to do nothing but help you. So another thing to kind of look at and keep in mind as things are coming in, but something a lot of people said they didn't quite know what was going on, and thought I'd make a quick video to hopefully help you guys out. But anyways, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys are out there shooting lots of plane down, because I've been having a lot of fun doing so, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.